Kaiju and anime, an idea that's not all that in the unknown, does light up a lot of interest among fans of both. So, when Kaiju number 8 hit the anime world, everyone knew that it was definitely something fresh, and it got quite the reception too. Now, for Kaiju fans who aren't that well versed with the anime world, Kaiju number 8 is a must-watch, especially if you're already deep into the world of the Monsterverse and Pacific Rim. After all, that same sense of fun can be found in Kaiju number 8, with epic battles and over-the-top monster action frequently being on display. Plus, the main character is himself a kaiju, so it bridges the gap between humans and giant monsters. Alright, now that you have a little insight into the workings of Kaiju number 8, let's address to the elephant in the room, and that is, just how would Godzilla, in all his different versions, would fare if placed into the world of Kaiju number 8? I'm not talking about them fighting the monsters in that universe, though some might, but rather, how would the world of Kaiju number 8 react to them? And how would the king of the monsters respond to this new environment? Well, first things first, there is definitely a possibility of Godzilla appearing in all his might inside the series, but it'll most likely be a cameo experience. That is, if it does happen. Also, since Godzilla originated in Japan, Naya-sensei might pay homage to him. There's a good chance Godzilla could be a wild card if he appeared in the world of Kaiju number 8, or maybe nothing would happen at all, who knows. As of now, however, it's all down to our imagination, and as always, we like to put up our own theories along with mentioning some other fan theories that seem interesting to us. So, even if this is something that some people may write off as a joke, this idea actually makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, if you were to ask my own personal opinion, I'd say this: the Godzilla-based kaiju probably might have appeared in 1954, mostly because that's where his real origins lie, and I would perhaps call it Kaiju number 0, simply as a nod to the origin. And if you're still thinking why, I believe that this will really help to bridge the gap between 1954 and 1972. That's when Kaiju number 2 showed up. Plus, it's also possible that the Godzilla kaiju could be linked to a JDF weapons project after World War II, designed to counter the rise of nuclear weapons around the world, tying into Godzilla's origin as a symbol of nuclear bombs. The king of the monsters is a nuclear monster after all. Okay, so somehow we have an imaginary scenario here where Godzilla possibly exists in Kaiju number 8, and let's consider the Monsterverse Godzilla for this one. Now, even though we're not pitting him against the other kaiju in this universe, but it would be quite fascinating to see just where does the big G stand if up against any of them, say in terms of size, power, and so on. So, I did give a proper thought to that, and here's where I stand. Godzilla is simply a cut above in terms of size, so no one even comes close. But that's quite clear to understand, however, when it comes to everything else as well. I believe that Big G would easily dominate Kafka, Division 3, Division 1, and all other kaiju. You see Kafka, Kaiju number 9, Kaiju number 10, and most members of Division 3 and Division 1, including Mina Eshirara roughly at city level, maybe multi-city level at best. Even the weaker versions of Godzilla are at least multi-continental or even planet level. That's way beyond what we've seen in Kaiju number 8's universe. But, having said that, the Big G being in this anime won't really be so off-putting or insensible. And that's simply because with him in this anime we would be able to see Godzilla in an entirely different dynamic. Most important of them being in the way of how the king of the monsters would interact with the humans in this universe. Alright, that was all my theory and imagination out in the open. But there's another fan theory which I came across, and honestly, it won't be fair if I didn't mention that here today. So I actually came across this on Wattpad, and the username for this fan is thegodslayer1900, titled as Kaiju number 8 versus Godzilla. His story begins like this. When Godzilla in Hell was trapped in a non-existent realm by Ultima, he started punching his way out of the realm, and he was making his way until he smashed his way out. But this turned upside down when he broke out. His soul was sent to another universe, and instead he was reincarnated into a human named Reijin G Shinoji. He doesn't know why he was reincarnated into a human. Maybe it's the sins or destruction he caused in his own universe that a being higher decided to punish him and trap him inside a human that he completely despises. Over the years, Reijin begins to experience his new life as a human, but he eventually learns that the world he is in is similar to his world. He also learned that he could change his human form to his true form. But however, despite hating humans, he actually saw them as trying to have normal lives, and he also made friends with Mina Ishiro and Kafka Hibino, who shared the same dream to protect Japan and exterminate the kaiju by joining the defense force. However, as the years went by, his friend Kafka continuously failed the entrance exam numerous times and became a member of the professional kaiju cleanup corps, while Mina eventually became the captain of the Defense Force's 3rd Division. Reijin lost interest in enlisting in the Defense Force and moved away from Japan for a while. For this unknown reason, he didn't join the Defense Force. It's because he found out what he was and he became completely isolated from human civilization. Following a chain of unfortunate events, Kafka turned into a humanoid monster, while Reijin is slowly regaining the power of his former life and what he truly is. The King of Monsters has finally returned. So yeah, it is really interesting, and you should check out the link to the original article cause he's mentioned a lot other cool details there. And there you have it. Like I said before, integrating Godzilla into Kaiju number 8 would certainly raise the stakes and add new layers of complexity to the narrative. Plus, who wouldn't like seeing the King of the Monsters in a new light, in an entirely new universe and in such unique scenarios? A humanoid Godzilla doesn't sound so bad after all. That will be all for this one. Thanks for watching. You're watching Factholic Pop. And as always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Also, don't forget to comment about your own views on this. Who knows, you might have something even more interesting on this. It's been a pleasure, take care, and long live the King.